One, two.
Hello out there in YouTube land, Rival here. Thanks for stopping by. As you can see, we've got a turntable review for you today. We're going to be taking a look at this thing. This is the G&G Hawk MUDD. This is a prototype of the upcoming Mid-Tech release they're going to be putting out. This thing is freaking sweet. You know, I apologize it's taken me so long to get this video out there, but I wanted to do a good comprehensive review of it. I've been carrying it for quite some time. I've got a lot of stuff to compare it against. I mean, I've been carrying this thing for maybe 2 years, and I think I got this thing like 2 years ago. I love it. So let's kind of just dive right in. So these are not out on the market yet. If you're interested in getting one, reach out to Gavin. His email address is fairly easy to find. I may put it in the links below as long as I get a thumbs up, or just want to make sure I'm not inundating the guy. But you can jump on Instagram and see his work very easily. It's Hawk Knives on Instagram. I'm pretty sure the first run of these may be pre-ordered out. There might be a few slots left. I think I heard rumors of him maybe doing a second one, but reach out to him and get the full details. So this knife is a Mid-Tech version of this knife, which is a production version of his custom. So the custom's actually a little bit smaller than this. It's a fairly small knife, around a 3-inch blade, I think. This knife's big. It's about 3 3/4 inches. Which I love, but you know, there's certain things that this is just a little bit too big for. It's wide and it's fat, and it is a good working knife. But when you need something smaller, and this thing it just fires on all cylinders. So it's about 7 3/4 inches overall. Blade length is 3 1/4 inches. It's very comparable in size. If I were to throw a knife out there that a lot of people have their hands on or have at least handled, it's very comparable in size to this 0566. 0566, the blade size is nearly identical. This handle is just a hair longer at the end. This knife really maximizes, you know, every square centimeter of its real estate. I mean, right down to the end, man. And that's one of the things I love about this knife, and the MUDD knives in general, and really, you know, G&G Hawk in general. They really put a lot into their knives. I mean, this thing has so many bells and whistles that a lot of other makers, that they either don't, you know, they don't think of it, because these guys hold a lot of patents, as you can see by the patent for the Hawk Lock. They just put so much engineering into these things. It's amazing, and the amount that you get for the price that you pay for something like this is amazing as well. I believe the Mid-Tech offerings are going to be $400. You've got titanium handle slabs. You've got their grip clip, which is an amazing pocket clip system. And this thing has even been developing, you know, over the years. Sorry, I just grabbed another example, but they have been refining it over the years. I got this grip clip from them a few years back for my Ram, which also features the Hawk Lock. Freaking awesome lock. Yeah, so grip clip. On top of that, so we've got the lock mechanism, which I'll get into in a little bit. I really love the oversized thumb disc. The knurling on this disc it's aggressive enough to be grippy, but not aggressive enough to be cutty or rippy, you know, on your pants or anything like that. Doesn't really hurt. But the other thing it does, and I'm sure this was unintentional, it just works out to my benefit and anybody who has the knives, is it allows for you to wave the knife by just, you know, doing that wave motion, pulling it on the edge of your pocket, letting it grip that knurling, and pulling the blade out, open it right out of the pocket. So that's just another amazing feature of this knife. The oversized pivot, something that I love about that is it gives so much extra surface area for the knife to grip that blade, and just it provides for an extremely strong lockup with absolutely no wiggle. It's amazing. And then the other thing that this MUDD knife provides, one of the big features, is the sealed pivot. So I'll try and get a hold of this. But what you're probably not seeing is space between that pivot and the blade, where you see it, you know, in here you can see through it. And the reason is there are some, I believe it's like a silicone that he uses, or some kind of siliconized rubber, but he's got a rubber seal around the entirety of that pivot, as well as around the entirety of the lock mechanism, which makes it waterproof. It prevents water, sand, grit, dirt, mud, for example, from getting into that knife. So what you've got is a knife that is really an all-purpose knife. I mean, you could bury this thing in the dirt, pull it out, and rip that sucker open. It is really an all-purpose, outdoor, hard-use knife, and I freaking love it. I mean, this knife is just, it's insane. The blade, so it's CTS-XHP blade steel, which is a great blade steel. I've got a couple fixed blades in it. I've never had a folding knife in it yet, so I've been using it since June. I got it shortly after Blade Show, about mid-June. I actually purchased it from him from Blade Show. I was not there. Luckily, I had some proxies there, some friends of mine who really hooked it up. There were only 10 of these protos that were made, so right now there's 10 of these out in the world. So it feels pretty badass to be one of those 10 too, let me tell you what. So yeah, the lock mechanism, let's talk about the lock mechanism. So if you're unfamiliar with it, again, we've got that siliconized rubber outer casing on that lock. What it is there is a bar and a spring underneath here that allow for the notches. There's some notches and some inserts, I guess you'd say, in that blade, which allows it to go in and go out and then lock. So watch that. Whoop, when we open it up, boom, that goes in. It actuates the lock mechanism, which is underneath this pivot in the sealed area, again, so nothing can get into it. And it gives you a super strong lockup. Releasing that pulls it out of there. And then the detent is actually going to be inlaid in this other side. So it's actually like a two-stage system. It again has another little spring mechanism and notch in the blade that holds that thing shut. Now that's actually like a next generation advancement, I guess you'd say, in that mechanism from the ZT version. I think these things came out in 2007. It has a two-stage mechanism in this lock. I know that because I've taken this knife apart many times. But what that means is when I depress the button, it not only depresses or releases the blade lock from the locking position, but it also takes away the detent portion of it. So I can gravity, this knife open if I just depress the lock, and it pops right out. Now you can't do that with this knife because depressing the lock doesn't release that detent. That detent is just on a separate spring on this side, which is pretty ingenious. It really protects you a whole lot more in the event that this does get depressed for some reason in the closed position. There's still that detent there keeping you safe. It's not going to just swing open. Let's see, what else is there to talk about on this knife other than just its sheer awesomeness? So titanium with carbon fiber overlays, the grip clip, that lockup system, thumb disc with the beautiful knurling. I mean, just the overall design of this knife. I mean, I am enamored by every aspect of this knife. It is just fantastic. The size is just, I mean, for my hands, it's perfect. I'm a size medium glove guy. I'm not a huge dude. So it fits my hand perfect. And when I don't want to be carrying a big ass knife like this, or more commonly the one that's in my pocket right now, it's a big ass knife. I love carrying this knife, don't get me wrong, but there are pants that I've got that don't have pockets big enough for it. There are places that I'm going that I want something a little more discreet. And this really just, it fits every purpose. I mean, it gives you so much work, or so much, hard use out of that knife. Such a great blade steel, a perfect size in my opinion. That great lock, even left-handed. I mean, just using that middle finger to shut it down. It's just, everything about this knife is fantastic, you guys. So if you've got an interest in Hawk knives, if you've got the fundage available to be in the mid-tech market, get yourself one of these MUDDs. I'm going to show that off a little bit because I love it. But get yourself one of these muds. If they're sold out, then get your ass on a list for one of these muds, because these knives are fantastic. I really don't know what else to say, so just stop on by soon. Tonight is Sunday night. My giveaway ends tonight, so if you haven't done the giveaway video yet, take a look at that. And I'm going to be doing the drawing for that tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by. Peace.